No handshakes, no opening statements. Donald Trump and Joe Biden go head-to-head in the first U.S. presidential debate.
In fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. They're going to be
This is the same man
it's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
By Easter this would be gone away.
Household energy costs are set to go up, electricity tariffs and gas prices both rising from tomorrow.
And why viewers are moving to services like Netflix and HBO Go, pulling the plug on pay TV.
Hello, you're watching The Big Story, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. I'm Olivia Quay.
And I'm Haryanto Diman. You can subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you never miss a single episode. Now, on an update on the COVID-19 situation here, 23 new cases were confirmed today.
They included 3 community cases, all of whom are work pass holders. There were also 4 imported cases who had been placed on stay-home notices upon arrival here. The Health Ministry will share more details tonight.
In other local news, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat will give a speech when Parliament sits next Monday, outlining the progress Singapore has made in combating the coronavirus, as well as the country's fiscal position and its strategies to emerge stronger from the crisis. He said in a Facebook post today that the government will also table a supplementary supply bill on the same day to reallocate resources for the measures he announced on August 17th to extend support for businesses and workers. Parliament will debate the bill and these measures, which amount to some $8 billion. The ministerial statement will be delivered at 1:30 p.m. this coming Monday, October 5th.
Monthly electricity bills for households are on average set to go up by 9% from tomorrow. SP Group said the electricity tariff for the next 3 months will rise by an average of 1.83 cents per kilowatt hour compared to the previous quarter. This due to higher energy costs, which form a major component of the electricity tariff and are paid to power generation companies. Other components like network costs and market support services remain unchanged. Meanwhile, gas tariffs for households are also set to increase by 83 cents per kilowatt hour or 5% for the same period. City Gas said fuel cost hikes have pushed these tariffs up.
According to people with knowledge of the matter, Amazon is planning to take over some of Citigroup's office space in Singapore. It will lease 3 floors covering about 90,000 square feet at Asia Square Tower 1. Staff will reportedly move into the new offices early next year. Amazon's plans in Singapore come as some of China's biggest technology corporations like Tencent, Alibaba Group and ByteDance make this their beachhead for the rest of Asia. Amazon currently has about 200 job openings in Singapore for roles covering data analytics, sales and advertising, business development, and marketing and public relations.
In a Facebook post today, Minister for Culture, Community and Youth Edwin Tong said no one has ever been fined for flying the national flag beyond the time period allowed. He added that the authorities don't plan to start doing so. Mr. Tong was addressing concerns over recent media reports about a potential fine for those who continue to display the flag after today, September 30th. But he said in cases of deliberate disrespect against the flag in any way, action will be taken. Now, the law, which stipulates a fine of up to $1,000 for offenders, is meant to safeguard the dignity of the flag.
The first debate on Tuesday between US President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden saw both men throwing insults at each other in a chaotic and brutal 90-minute showdown.
Well, Mr. Biden called Mr. Trump a clown and the worst president America has ever had. Mr. Trump said there was nothing smart about his Democratic rival and repeatedly talked over Mr. Biden's answers.
On the issues, they argued about the economy, election integrity and race. They also quarreled over COVID-19, with Mr. Biden criticizing the president's pandemic response.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. They're going to be delivering
This is the same man
it's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
That was said sarcastically,
That was
you know that. That was said sarcastically.
And so here's the deal.
If you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to. But I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say this.
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money. The Congress.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite.
Foreign editor Bhagya Sri Gareka joins us to further discuss the debate. Welcome, Bhagya. Bhagya, chaotic, childish, even. That's how the first debate was described. Amid the noise, what were the key messages, if there were any to begin with?
So I think chaotic and what did you say?
Childish.
Yeah. Right. So I think that about captures it. Some of the other things I heard, I was flipping through various news channels. So I think Bloomberg, I heard someone say that it was, one hot mess. And somewhere else, I heard someone say that everybody was talking, nobody was listening, and nobody learned anything. So, and if I had to, use my own word, I would say it was unprecedented. We saw that there was this reference to Biden calling Trump a clown and telling him to just shut up, man. And then you had Trump say, Biden was not smart. So these are not things that people expect to hear, before a very, very serious election at which, there are great stakes at play. Right. So that bit certainly was something to watch for.
So amid all of that, were there any focused messages that both candidates managed to put across?
I think for Trump, it might have been on the coronavirus, because he was basically defending his record. And given that's the case, he managed to make a few points, and Biden, I think, also refuted them well. So you saw that trade going on. And the other thing was Biden, I think, made one very good point where he basically said Trump had made America weaker, poorer, more divided, and more violent. So with this, I think that's the kind of message people might be taking away. For Trump, I think another was he said to Biden that, I've done more in my 47 months than you have done in your 47 years, referring to Biden's long public record. So I think those were the kind of things people might remember if it's not for all the insults that were traded.
Right. Well, we want to hear your thoughts, more thoughts on each candidate. Who, in your opinion, performed better in the debate?
That's interesting. Who performed better? Who performed worse?
Less bad.
Yes, exactly. So, our colleague, our US Bureau Chief, Nirmal Ghosh, he's just put out an article, and probably our viewers might have read it. So, according to people he's spoken, and according to focus groups that, people try to speak to understand who performed better, apart from your own personal view, people seem to think that Biden performed better. But then if you were at all hearing Fox Network, you would think Trump performed better, because everybody said, well, this was a debate and Trump was provocative. He was going in for it, and that's what he needed to do. So it really did depend on which side you were on to see, who performed better. The most critical thing, however, is that this was a chance for each of these candidates to try and make a point and swing the fence sitters. So presuming they already have their party loyalists, their base with them, you have at least maybe about 11%, 20% of voters who still haven't decided who they're going to vote for. Right. And if that's the case, they were watching this. Did they emerge with, one way or another? I'm not sure. I think most people just, some of them were actually, they said quite openly on TV that they were just turned off, and somebody called it a national embarrassment. So.
So on that note, Bhagya, so you mentioned it depends on which side you're on. And, neither Trump nor Biden are known for their debating skills. So 2 more debates to go before the November 3rd polls. Will these debates actually hurt them more than you think?
Yes, there's quite a possibility that they would, but of course they have chance to take stock, react to how the voters are reacting to what they said, and then they might tailor in. But having said that, we do know that Trump has a certain persona that he brings with him on stage, and which is the persona we saw. Biden has a certain other image, which might be, well, he likes to project himself as a decent man, an honest man from the working class and so on. So I'm not sure that anything happened here that would have, convinced the voters either way.
Okay, well, we have to bring the US election to, our local audience. So, Bagya, why should Singaporeans care about the debates and, more broadly, who becomes the next US president?
Well, there are very good reasons to care for it. Well, first of all, this is the world's most powerful nation. Going to election, voting for their next leader. So you definitely want to see who wins. So debate is something you would tend to follow. The other one is that in our region, we're seeing this big contest play out between US and China. And it matters greatly for us then, who the next president is, because it affects how this region trades, what kind of security, military arrangements it has. All these things are in the works, and therefore I'd say there's very good reason to watch this unfold, and I hope you will watch it with us, with ST and with our bureau.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show once more, Bagya. We've been speaking to the Straits Times' foreign editor, Bagya Srigareka, on the first US presidential debate. The second debate is about 2 weeks away on October 15th.
Also making global headlines today, Hong Kong authorities are gearing up for potential clashes on China's National Day tomorrow. Local media reported that some 6,000 police officers are expected to be deployed. This despite a ban on what would have been the city's largest authorized protest in months, organized by a key human rights group. The Civil Human Rights Front had applied for a march from Causeway Bay to Central to call for the release of 12 Hong Kongers in mainland Chinese custody who were caught trying to flee serious protest-linked prosecutions. Police had earlier objected to the rally, stating that it would put public health at risk.
Dreaming of relaxing on the beaches of Thailand, well, those plans will have to be put on hold a little longer. The country, which is set to welcome its first batch of foreign tourists on October 8th, is unlikely to fully reopen its popular beaches and national parks until a Covid-19 vaccine is widely available. Authorities had earlier announced a gradual restart of its vital tourism sector and will impose a limit on foreign visitors for a few months before it considers further easing. For now, tourists will be quarantined for 2 weeks upon arrival and will need to stay in Thailand for a minimum of 90 days.
Hundreds of junior Spanish doctors took to the streets of Barcelona on Tuesday to demand better working conditions as they struggle against surging coronavirus infections. Between chants, they put down blankets around the busy Plaza de España roundabout to stage a sleep-in to highlight the long hours they have to work. Spain reported more than 2,500 new cases in the past 24 hours, the highest daily increase in Europe.
Well, Haryanto, I think it's accurate to say that both of us watch most of our movies and TV series on, over-the-top streaming services like Netflix. So my question to you today is, do you actually own a pay TV subscription?
I used to with StarHub, and then after that I stopped because right now, I'm on Netflix, I'm on YouTube, and I guess whatever I want to watch, I could just Google as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I have StarHub, but it's really only for sports or my kids' programs. Well, I think the majority of the population is kind of, similar to our situation because, earlier this month, market research firm Fitch Solutions forecast that by the end of 2029, there would be about 460,000 pay TV subscribers. For context, at the peak in March 2015, there were 968,000 subscriptions.
For OTT services, while Netflix doesn't reveal subscriber numbers in Singapore, market researcher Statista estimates that there will be over 264,000 users here by the end of this year.
Tech correspondent Vincent Chung has a story on this topic today, and he joins us now to discuss what pay TV operators can do to prevent viewers like me from pulling the plug. But first, Vincent, why are people still subscribing to pay TV?
Well, I think as I was talking to one of the experts, he was mentioning that there's an aging population here that grew up on cable TV and MediaCorp shows, and to them the pay TV model is something they're familiar, they're used to the channels and the interface. So, I mean, we are all creatures of habits after all. And that's one reason why they're keeping their subscription. Another is probably the Asian content. There's a wider selection of Asian shows, like, from Japan, Korea, or even around us, through the pay TV operators than through OTT services. Now, there are also OTT streaming services like View or TVB Anywhere that offer such content. They are specific to certain regions, like Korean shows only, or Hong Kong dramas only. Yeah. And the last reason is probably for subscribers is live sports. For instance, in Singapore, the English Premier League is very popular, and many subscribers just keep their subscriptions because of the access to live sports that you can't get on OTT services.
Right. So to keep up with competition and changing consumer habits, what can pay TV do?
They have evolved in a sense. So, for instance, Singtel has their Cast OTT platform, which offers some of the benefits of OTT streaming services. And the new Singtel StarHub, the StarHub TV Plus app does the same thing. So you can watch it on mobile, you can, you'll remember where you last watched, and you can watch it, you can stream the content to a smart TV. And they even have an Android TV box that you can rent from, and then you can get your live, your usual pay TV content, along with some OTT operators that they've integrated in this app. So, for instance, Netflix is inside as part of this platform. And that last approach actually is how some of the experts think pay TV operators can become, as in they can become an aggregator of content. So, like, they curate various OTT services and put them all on one platform, so it's easier for users to access them rather than having to have multiple apps and multiple billing arrangements. They can all get it all through one provider in that sense. Yeah, so this could be important going forward because of the number of OTT players coming in. I mean, we are all familiar with Netflix, and now we have Apple TV Plus and Amazon Prime Video. They're all competing in this space, and there's more to come. Disney Plus is expected to launch here sometime, I don't know, going ahead. And then we have there are also the Chinese OTT players, your iQIYI. They're all expanding outside China. So eventually they'll come here, and then users will have so many OTT apps, right? And for some users, they might be more comfortable going through a familiar name like StarHub rather than subscribing to like 10 of them.
Thanks, Vincent, for coming on to the show to speak with us. We were speaking to tech correspondent at the Straits Times, Vincent Chung.
Well, Vincent's story is on straitstimes.com, where you can also find more news and videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the red button below.
Once again, I'm Haryanto Diman with Olivia Quay. Join us tomorrow for more stories on A Big Story.